Hey everybody out there in Flosstube world, this is Vicki, aka the Virginia Stitcher, coming to you with my Flosstube video number 21. Today is Wednesday, February 16th of 2022. For any of you that are watching this way into the future, this is 2022, so hello from the future. But I just want to welcome you all to my little channel here. I record this in my basement craft room in Fredericksburg, Virginia. And I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody who has been with me for a long time. For those, well, a long time is, I started my channel May of last year. So I haven't quite been a Flosstube channel not even a year yet. But those have been with me for a while and have watched several of my videos and have commented and shared along in my journey. I want to welcome all of you that are new to my channel, who are checking me out for the first time. I want to give a thank you to Michelle McGraw. Her Flosstube channel is made by Michelle McGraw. She gave me a shout out and I thank you so much for that. That is so sweet of you. If you haven't checked out her channel, you can go on over there and check out hers if you feel so inclined. She does a lot of smalls and small finishes, and right now she's been working on stand-ups. She stitches things that she can stuff and stand up on a shelf in her house. So that is Michelle McGraw. And I got several comments on my last video. If you see me looking down, I'm looking at just some bullet notes I have so that I can kind of keep on track and also not forget anything, hopefully. So I wanted to address, there were some comments last week. I had showed you all scroll frames that I was using. They were called Arabesca scroll frames. And I had told you that I had purchased a set last fall, I think around maybe October timeframe, off of Amazon. And I had several people saying they couldn't find them on Amazon. So I looked, and unfortunately, I don't think they must be sold out on Amazon. I don't know if they'll get them back on Amazon at some time in the future. But I Googled them, and I did see that there are some Etsy sellers that are selling them on their Etsy shops. They are made in the Ukraine, so more than likely you're going to get a set that comes from the Ukraine. But the box of the ones that I received, this must have been, mine says a special edition, if you can see that. And it's Arabesca, and they're made in the Ukraine. And mine was, I guess, a special edition set. I had received 3 different sizes of scroll frames, and I have 2 projects on 2 of the sets. And I had told you that they can't, I picked a set that had 3 different lengths in the scroll frames, and then 2 different lengths in the sidebars. And then the sidebars had holes that you could adjust and make them wider or shorter. And I have 2 sets put together and projects on those. One was my winter white Santa that I showed last week. But here are the third set of the scroll rods. And I had showed you how they had the clamps. So when you're looking, if you do want to look on Etsy, and I can't verify the Etsy, because I didn't purchase mine on Etsy, but I did purchase mine on Amazon, and they came quickly, and I had no problem receiving my order. And they were really nicely, they're real nice. And I have extra clamps that I didn't use for my other sets that I have put together, because they give you plenty. As you can see, this whole rod is covered in clamps, so you can cover your whole piece from end to end with these plastic clamps that go on. So instead of having to baste stitch onto a scroll frame, scroll rod, or tape it on, you just use these little clamps. So, and because they just have a groove here in the scroll rod. So I just wanted to show you quickly, just go on here quickly and try to clarify that evidently there are not any more, at least right now, available on Amazon. Hopefully they will again in the future. And I don't know if you could buy them by the set. When I saw them on Etsy, I saw them in single frames, but they had several sizes to pick from. Because they're from the Ukraine, they say centimeters, but there are some that tell you what they are in inches for the height of the sidebars and the width of the scroll rods. So that was the Arabesca scroll frames that I use for some of my pieces. So I just wanted to clarify that since I've got a lot of comments on the scroll frames that I use. Another thing that I wanted to go over with you all, last time I had checked in with you guys was on February 2nd, and I was leaving the next day to go to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, well actually Cranberry Township, Pennsylvania, outside of Pittsburgh, for the Steel City Stitchers Retreat. And I was beating a winter storm there. And I'm going to let you know, I did make it. Unfortunately, some of the women couldn't make it. I heard nightmares about flights, that people were trying to get flights out. I was watching, I think her name is Sarah Memphis Stitches or something like that. She was coming from Memphis, Tennessee, and I watched her Flosstube about it and her whole ordeal for her and Zan to make it to the Steel City Stitchers Retreat, and how they had to fly to several different locations and barely make flights and wondering if their luggage was going to get there and all that kind of stuff. And taking a good day to get to Pittsburgh from Tennessee. It was like the next middle of the night when they got there. So I know women were having a lot of problems. When I drove, I left Thursday morning, the next morning after my video. I left on the 3rd. The event didn't start till Friday, but I wanted to get in a day early, and it was a good thing I already had booked my hotel for the day early and all of that, because if I had waited till Friday to try to get there, I don't think I would have been able to make it. I left here in the morning, probably about 8 a.m., hit the road. I got a coffee from Starbucks and hit the road. And it was raining here in Virginia, and it was probably 33, 34 degrees when I left here, because I left in the morning. And the whole way was rain. But I constantly was checking my temperature gauge on my car to show me the outside temperature. And as I got into Pennsylvania, it was flirting with like 32, 33 degrees. At one point, it went up to like 43 degrees because it was getting later in the day. It was getting more like noon. But as soon as I hit closer to Pittsburgh and getting closer to the storm edge, where it was changing more over from rain to ice and sleet and freezing rain, my temperature gauge was flirting right with that 32 degrees. So I was like, oh, just let me make it. Just let me make it. But the one good thing was I felt like there was hardly anybody on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. When I got on there, it was pretty much empty. There were a few truckers and a couple of cars or, vehicles, and that was it. And so I think the storm was keeping people off the roads. Only crazy people like me that are dedicated stitchers and want to get to my retreat are on the road on a day such like that. So I did make it there, and I got in about probably about 1:45 in the afternoon. It was about a 5-hour drive, and then I got checked in. They were able to get me in my hotel room early, which that was a blessing. So I got checked in, got settled into my room, and there were ladies already there in the lobby area of the hotel. And I tell you what, this Marriott had a beautiful lobby. It was huge. So there was plenty of space for all of us ladies. They had tables with plenty of plug-in places. So ladies were plugging in their lights and different devices they needed, their iPads or whatever, to look at patterns and just stitching away and having a good time while it started to ice and start to get worse outside. So, and the one other good thing with the hotel, with the Marriott there, was they had a restaurant in the hotel, and they kept us fed through the storm. We never lost power. We had food. We had our stitching. We were doing good. So it was wonderful. And I want to give a big shout out to the Steel City Stitchers for doing an awesome, awesome retreat. This was their first retreat, and they have said that they are going to do it again. So I was so happy. But Kristen, Jody, Erin, and Erica, hats off to you girls. You guys did an awesome, phenomenal job with the snowstorm and all of the issues that were going on. You would have never known. Everything ran smoothly. It just went great. For the ladies who did check in early, the Steel City Stitchers, Kristen and Jody and Erin and stuff started showing up the night before, the evening before, to start setting the room up and bringing items in and things like that. And they told us after they get finished unpacking things that they were bringing in, like all of our goodie bags, which I'll show you in a minute, they said, we can go ahead and start registering you ladies that are here so you don't have to worry about it in the morning. So that was another good thing. So they registered us the night before, gave us our goodie bags, and we were off to a good start. We had already started stitching and visiting and having a great time. So I want to show you in my bag, when you showed up, you just told them your name, and in their computer database, they had us by number, and our bags were numbered, and it had our badge, our lanyard with our name, and any merchandise that you bought ahead of time, they had in your bag. And I have my Steel City Stitchers zip up hoodie. So I used this some that weekend because the air conditioning in the conference center, in the room that we were in, it would get a little bit warm, and then when it would kick on, I must have been sitting near a vent because I would start feeling cold after a little while. So, but this was in my bag. My lanyard was in my bag, and this was our fun little tote bag that they gave us with our goodies in it. It has a Steel City Stitchers logo. And we had a project that we were supposed to, if we wanted to, stitch ahead of time, and I did not. But they gave us a goodie bag full of all of the things we needed to finish our piece. So a couple of boards, some rickrack, some ribbon, and they had a couple of tables set up with hot glue guns and were there to help you put your pieces together. But because I did not stitch mine, I didn't have anything to put together. And then also a Steel City Stitchers needle minder was in the bag. And let me see if I can find my little... Oh, I can't find it. There were some stitched, I must have put it in another bag. Vincent had stitched everybody a small little Steel City Stitchers logo that looked like this, but it was about this big around. And he stitched enough for every single lady, every single bag. So that was really sweet of him to do that. There were also snacks and a water bottle. Those are long gone. I don't have those in my bag anymore. And there were a couple of free charts in there that were done for the retreat. So here's one of the ones. And this lady was here at the retreat, and she's a wrought iron stitcher. And she did this one and had all of these different finishes to show us what they look like at her table. So we got a couple of little freebie charts that are, you know, just for the Steel City Stitcher retreat. And our little needle minder, our bag, our goodies, and everything that we needed. They had Starbucks coffee and water set up for us to have the whole weekend. And like I said, the restaurant in the hotel, I thought it was great. They served us soup and salad buffet for lunch the 2 days. And I'm thinking, soup and salad, how filling is that going to be for me? Am I going to get hungry again in a couple of hours? No, their soup and salad was actually, they had strips of grilled steak and chicken, French fries, all kinds of stuff on there, and cookies. It was a smorgasbord of food, so we had plenty to eat. And I never got hungry once. I didn't have to leave the hotel at all until I think I left. What was the night? We went out to eat at Longhorn, me and a couple of the other ladies, Cindy and Paula. We went out to eat, I think it was Saturday night, I want to say. Saturday morning, I went out. The snow, the freezing rain, the sleet, all of it was finished. And I thought, let me go out there and start trying to unbury my car, because it had been sitting in the parking lot through the whole storm. And when I went out there, I had a crust of, well, I had about this much snow and a crust of ice on my car about this thick. I had to really pull on my handle of my car and pull my door to get it open. And then I turned my car on, let it run, let the defrost go, heated it up, and sat there and scraped and cleaned and chiseled my car for a good while that morning, on Saturday morning, trying to get at least most of it off because the sun had come out and I wanted it to melt the rest off of my vehicle because it was an igloo. My little car was just an igloo. So, but got it all cleared off so that when I was ready to leave the next day, I could get in my car and go. So, so that was, my experience with the storm, with the hotel, with the retreat. Also, we had, I think somebody said there was about 100 women there. And I met some people, I saw some people that I had met at StitchCon back in June. I met the Stitchy Friends, Sarah and Jen. They do Stitchy Friends on Flosstube, so if you haven't seen them, check them out. I met Stitch and Grammy, and she was doing bags. I'll show you one that I purchased. She was doing them before, since I arrived the day before. She had brought some and had them in her hotel room and said that she didn't want to step on toes and be selling them during the event, but she had some for before, and just a limited supply. So she had those available. I had, who else was there? Jameer, Almond M&Ms on Flosstube. She was there. I met her at StitchCon back in June, and it was great seeing her again. I had, who else? Of course, I was sitting with my two friends from StitchCon that I had met, and we have been staying in contact and stitching together a few times through the years, Madeline and Cindy. So we sat together, and a lady named Paula joined us, and another lady, Meg. So we had a couple other women at our table. We had, I had a young lady that was at the table next to me. Her name was Tiffany, that came over and said hello, and said she watches my channel. I want to let you guys know, if you ever see me, like if you go to StitchCon or you're at the Steel City Stitchers Retreat next year and I'm there, you know, whatever, if you see me, I'm at a retreat or wherever, come by and say hi. I am, believe it or not, I do these videos, but I'm actually sitting in here talking to myself basically, but I know I'm talking to you guys, and I can do that. I am not one, like my channel, I have like a little over 3,000 subscribers, and I think the last video had about 5,000 views. If you were to tell me that I needed to get up and speak in front of 5,000 people, I wouldn't be able to do it. I would probably be stuttering or just, I don't know. I don't think I would be able to talk. I even kind of stumble over my words speaking in, here on these videos. So I'm not the best at striking up conversations with people that I don't know. I'm what you would call an extroverted introvert, which is, it kind of sounds like an oxymoron. I found this out about myself about like 10 years ago. It took me like till I was about 50 years old to figure out I was an extroverted introvert. I like meeting people. I don't have problems talking to people once I get to know you. I don't do well in big crowds. So places like the retreats, I can get conversations going maybe with the women at my table, and I can start little individual conversations, or if I've already met you before, I can start a conversation again with you. I can say, hey, hi, how are you doing? And stuff like that. And I'll smile and I'll wave and say hello to people, but I don't really know how to, I'm not always the most comfortable with just going out there and just speaking to everybody, just walking up and just having like these long conversations with people. That's just one of the weird things about me. I was a very, very shy child growing up. not around people I know. Once I know people and I'm comfortable with them, I can have conversations and talk and be giggly and stupid and silly, be my normal self. I really am a little bit of a, a silly person, I guess, and in person I can be. But if I don't know you, I kind of can be quiet. And it takes me a little bit to warm up and get to know people. I know my parents, they used to always get my report cards and go, they always say, Vicky's a great student. She's a joy to have in class, but she's quiet and she needs to participate. And my parents would go, you talk all the time. You're running around loud, goofy, silly here and with your sister and your couple of friends you have in the neighborhood. But I get in school and I would just want to sit back and be like, don't call on me. I don't want to talk in front of the class. I don't want to do my report and get up and stand and speak in front of everybody. Because I've told you before, I grew up, I was a military kid. I was a military brat and I grew up all over the place. And I was just always the new kid. As soon as I got to meet people, then I was a new kid again. And some people, their personalities, maybe they take it as, they make friends quick and, they can have a whole gaggle of friends around them within the first week of school. I wasn't like that. I was always very quiet and shy, and I got teased a lot over whatever, various things. I'm very pale skinned, freckly, so I'd be teased about my freckles. I had crooked teeth growing up, so I'd be teased about how my teeth were crooked, my freckles, I talk funny, you name it. I was my name, like they would just try to find some way to make fun of me for whatever reasons and pick on me and all that kind of stuff. So I got picked on a lot, and I think it was because I came across as very weak because I was quiet and shy. So I got picked on by the bullies. So anyways, if you ever see me, please come by and say hello, and don't be embarrassed to say hello. I remember Tiffany came up to me and she goes, I really wanted to, I watched your video and I was really wanting to come over and say hi, and I was kind of embarrassed, kind of shy to do that. And I'm like, oh, by all means, don't be. I am just a lady who stitches in her basement in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and I share my love of cross stitch with everybody. And it just was weird to me that she was saying that, because I was like, really? Honestly, I'm just an old lady in her basement. Just, so, but I met her, Tiffany, and she came by and she had a bunch of floss drops and stuff. So she gave me a couple and said hi. And I thought that was really sweet of her to do. And another thing that the Crafty You had, and I want to also a young lady, and I'm friends with her on Instagram. Follow her on Instagram. Her name is Sally Yoon. Some of you might know her. She made little needle books for everybody. And it was hard to pick. They were in a rainbow of colors, and it was really beautiful. And she's made them where they just tie together. And I picked blue. It was hard to pick a color. And it's just a little needle book. And that was so sweet of her. So thank you so much, Sally, if you're watching this. This will come in handy. So I got a little needle book. And then my friend Cindy that I stitch with, she had a couple of these rose gold colored, what I use for floss drops, these metal rings. So she gave one to me. And she said, here, you want this? So this was something else that I picked up. Got from one of my stitchy friends while I was there. And I've got haul to show you from StitchCon. I mean, not StitchCon, I'm sorry. Steel City Stitchers Retreat. I was just talking about StitchCon earlier. So buckle up, because I've been busy. I've been busy, people. Not so much at the retreat. My stitching was pitiful. I was too busy shopping and getting sidetracked in conversations, and I would go around and I'd look at people's things and, try to have conversations. Like I said, I'm not the biggest conversationalist. It's not me. I remember one time somebody had told me years ago, they thought I was very stuck up. And I'm thinking, I am definitely not stuck up. I'm shy. I don't know how to start conversations always. I'm a little bit on the shy side. So I've gotten better through the years. I was extremely shy as a child, and I've gotten better through the years, but I still am not the greatest. I'm not the most outgoing, talkative person until I get to know you. So, you know, but if you say hi, I know you won't bite. I don't bite. So it's wonderful. I did have a couple of, you know, I had a few people say they saw my channel. So all of you ladies, hi, 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 hi. Any of you I saw at the retreat, hello. And I hope you guys had just as much fun as I did, because I know I did. So let me get to the haul. Let me do haul that I did. I told you that, and she asked me not to show, I just remembered she asked me not to show this until I received my other part, but I can go ahead and show it, and then I'll show the other part when I get it in. But this is Stitching with Grammy was selling bags, and this is a quite large bag with a handle and a zipper, and she was selling those in her room. And I picked up this one. I don't have any Valentine bags, so I picked this one up. And she always puts an angel on her her little zipper pulls, because she wants to know everyone, you know, to feel blessed when they get one of her bags. So I thought this was really neat. And she is making me a part 2 to this, a companion piece. And when I get that in, I will show that to you. But this was Stitching with Grammy. And I know she's on Instagram. So if you check her Instagram out, I don't think she has an Etsy store. She gave me her card. Here it is. Stitching with Grammy. And this is the back side with her information. So if any of you are interested in any of her bags, check her out on Instagram. And so I picked that up. And then one of the things that the Steel City Stitchers arranged was to have the Crafty U there, set up like a pop-up shop. And it was in the same room we were in. So on the opposite side of the room where I was sitting, I could just see all of that stuff over there. And the whole weekend, it was like, Vicki, come check us out. You know, and I walk over there and I'd find more stuff I wanted. So the Crafty U is in Pennsylvania. And this is the bag with their information. And the shop owner's name is Janine. And I've got to tell you, she's a wonderful lady, very helpful. I had a couple of questions to ask her. She was helpful, very sweet, even though it was probably busy. Her and the ladies that were working with her were busy, cutting fabrics and making sure everybody was happy with their purchases and found what they needed. But I bought several things from there. So one of the first things I saw was this bag set that is stitched by, I know it was on here somewhere. I think it's Bags by June, I want to say. They Velcro. And so I picked up this set. I thought it was really pretty. I loved the fabric. So I picked these up at the Crafty U in the room with us. And I picked up a couple of charts. Spoiler, I started one. I'm calling that my Steel City Stitchers Retreat piece. But I picked up the Cottage Garden, the Fox, and I'm sure you've seen this. So many people are stitching this one. So I picked this guy up, and I picked up a piece of fabric, a piece of Jody fabric. Jody with the Steel City Stitchers. She does some fabric dyeing, and this one is a 28 count Lagana, and it is just says hand dyed by Jody, so there's no color. But I picked this up to stitch him on because I thought that the oranges in the fox would really show up really nice, and the white colors and all of the snow in the background on this fabric. So I got this fabric at the Crafty U to go with this pattern. And then I picked up a bunch of more fabric. That is pretty much what I purchased while I was there. They had a whole long table, and it was all organized by counts. So starting off with 14 count Aida and worked all the way over to 40 something count linen. So I picked up this piece of 20 count Aida, and this was a flax linen Aida. So, well, it's a linen Aida in the color flax. So I thought, interesting. I never had seen that before. So I picked that piece up. And then I got this 16 count Aida in the color Murky by Picture This Plus. So I picked up a piece of that. I don't have any Murky, so I wanted that. I see a lot of beautiful things stitched on Murky. And this 16 count Aida by Seraphim Fabrics in the color Fool's Gold. Picked that up. There were so many there, so many different colors and different dyers that I had to limit myself to the ones that I did get. I could have purchased more. This one is Black Magic, and it is an 18 count Aida by, let me see, who's this by? Under the Sea Fabrics. Black Magic by Under the Sea Fabrics. Isn't that a beautiful mottled purple? Now I'm going to find something to put that, stitch that on. I don't have any purples like that. This one is a 18 count Aida in the color Old Stationery by Seraphim. So this one is kind of just your general, like a pretty much a generic, well, not generic, but you know, you could do a lot of different things on this. Has very light mottling in it. Pick that piece up. Also 16 count Aida in the color Brash by Picture This Plus. Look at that. Look at that beautiful gold coloring in it. It's really, really pretty. This one is 18 count Aida by Seraphim Fabrics in the color Pilgrim's Path. Nice kind of olive green. Pick that one up. And the last one that I picked up is by Fiber on a Whim, and it's called Offlegato. You can see that. I picked up a yard of that. And it's like a very gently modeled, lighter piece of fabric than the other one that I showed, the Old Stationery. So I have those fabrics that I purchased. So I've really got a nice fabric stash going, started. And a couple more project bags. Then, so that was most of my, oh, another piece of haul was this little kind of traveling Ort container. It opens up. You could set it on your table and put your little Orts in it, and then keep them nice and tidy while you're stitching. I liked that it folded flat and it was little, because what I put my Orts in at home is this big vase. And I'm not traveling with this thing, so I thought this was cute to put my Orts in. So I picked up that, and I think that was, the rest is in whips that I'm going to show you. So that's most of my haul from the Steel City Stitchers Retreat, from the Crafty You. So I would recommend, if, you know, for Nashville market, you can pre-order pieces that you see from any LNS. And so if you wanted to contact the Crafty You, I'm sure Janine would be happy to help you, or one of her ladies. Garon Stitchery, Keepsakes, there are plenty. Dying to Stitch, all of these different places. Hobby House, there's several. So, you know, find your LNS. If you have a market piece that you want to order, support your local or small businesses. And so now we get into my whips. What did I stitch while I was at StitchCon? Well, I did, the first thing that I worked on at StitchCon, I'm going to probably say that a lot. Steel City Stitchers Retreat. Steel City Stitchers. Maybe I need to put this where I can remind myself which one I'm talking about. I worked on Huckleberry Farm by the Blue Flower. Now, Crafty U at their store, they had this one on display, stitched up. They had it on a piece of fabric called Jamie's Kilt. If you're an Outlander fan, you'll know the reference. And it was beautiful. That fabric was beautiful. But I worked only just a little while, like a couple of hours, you know, probably got maybe 2 hours of stitching on this. And the first night in the lobby, I pulled this out and worked on it some more. And I got a little bit of stitching on it, not a whole lot. This one is stitched on a 16 count Aida in the color Glacier by Picture This Plus. And let me see if I can fold this up so I can show it to you guys better. And this is where I am. Let me get this off of my lap. And I am stitching this in the overdyed cottons. And I think most of the called for, if not all of the called for. What I had worked on, this is how much I have done on this one. And at the retreat, I was sitting in the lobby talking to Cindy and Madeline and a couple other ladies. And I stitched this little rickrack border here up to this point, and I did A through F, and I started this little motif right here. The rest of it I had already had finished, so I didn't get a whole lot done. I was doing more of this than, I mean, here I say I'm an extroverted introvert. So once I get to know you, I can talk. I don't sit there and just sit in my little corner and don't speak to anybody, but just not real good at initiating brand new conversations with people I don't know. So I do talk a lot, evidently. And so let me see if I didn't write down. I am using a combination of, it looks like Weeks Dye Works and some DMCs. So these are my flosses for it. Anytime you guys want my conversions and stuff, I can give them to you. I don't want to spend the whole video going over every single color on every single one of my pieces. So, because then my videos would be 2-3 hours long. They're long enough already. So that was Huckleberry Farm. That was the first thing I worked on at the retreat. Then I pulled out my StitchCon piece that Cindy, Madeline, and I started at StitchCon. We saw it at Keepsakes at the register and decided that we really wanted to work on this, and we'd all work on it together. And it is a Quaker Study by Carriage House Samplings. This is a Kathy Barrick piece that she had done for them. And our goal is to have this finished for StitchCon in June. We're going to Weekend B. And be able to ring the bell as a finish together on this piece. And so I pulled it out and I worked on it, but not very much. Like I said before, I think I did these two. I still had these two little motifs here to do, and these two I did, and I brought my border down a little bit farther. And this is a needle minder I got at the StitchCon. I met Crafty Kara, and she gave me a couple of her needle minders. Really, really sweet girl. So that is my Quaker Study, and this one is being stitched on 16 count Aida in the color All the Things. Let me look real quick. By All the Things by Mystic Fibers, and I'm using a Threadworks color. So I'm using one type of thread, and it is Threadworks. So it has variegation in it, so that it just runs through the variegation, and it's like I'm just stitching with one thread the whole time. And it is Threadworks color 1043. I had to order a little bit more, so I had to go. I had purchased all the a couple of bigger skeins at Keepsakes when I purchased the fabric at Keepsakes and the chart to start it at StitchCon, but I was like, I think I'm going to run out. So 123 Stitch had small skeins of it, so I picked up a small skein of the Threadworks color, that just to make sure I had enough to finish my piece. So that is Quaker Steady. So I pulled that out and I worked on it on part of the day on Friday at the retreat. So in between shopping and eating and talking and checking out what everybody else was doing, things like that. Then I decided on, I guess it was Saturday, I pulled this piece out. And this is by Heartstring Samplery. His eye is on the sparrow. I've been working on this one, and I'm doing a left-hand corner start on this one. And I picked it up and I got a little bit of work done on it. Not a whole lot. My nose is itching again. It's I don't know if I always have that problem. I just don't notice it till I turn my camera on. I'm stitching this on a piece of 32 count Lugana in the color Vintage Country Mocha. Let me get this where I could show it to you guys nicer. Get like situated here. And I am using all of the called for overdyed cottons for this one. And when I showed it to you last, I had pretty much, this done. I know I did this flower and brought the border down because I had told you I wanted to get down here and work on this banner that says his eye is on the sparrow. And I know he watches me. So I got that much done. And I got started on this motif that's right above the banner there because I get bored doing letters. So I have to switch from alphabet to a motif sometimes. So I did that far, and then I still have a piece of string because what happened was I was working on this one and then it was time to leave. And so I just had to throw it in my bag, and I wasn't able to finish that thread, and I haven't touched it since I got back. I was working on some other things since I got back from the retreat. So I worked on his eyes on the sparrow. And then this was the last piece I was working on. I had these a little bit out of order. Because the next other piece that I was working on, there was one more piece that I was able to get a little bit of work done on at the retreat. And this one is called A Changed World by Scarlet House. Let me get the chart out for you. And it looks like these. And I, of course, am doing a left-hand corner start. So I was working up in here. And this one is being stitched on 16 count Aida in the color. Let me pull out my sheet here. From Fiber on a Whim, it's Caramel Macchiato. And it's not 16 count, it's 18 count. And I am using the called for DMCs, except I have switched the color 817, the bright red, to Classic Colorworks Cupid. And instead of DMC black, I'm using Anchor Black on this one. So what I had worked on, I already had these flowers here done. And I had this, some of this done. I came in and I did some of the lettering. I think I only had a and the word and so I put some more of the words in. And then I came down and I was working on this border down here, and I also did this basket. So I did a good amount of work for the retreat for this piece, but I had to stop. I went to go put this next line of letters in, and I was measuring it off of, I was counting it off of this basket here, and it was like way down here. And I thought, why are these other two lines closer together and this other line is starting way down here? So I had to look at it and study it. And I realized that when I started this a while back, I had started this too far down. I think I was counting it off of this border, but I must have miscounted, and it should be up here more instead of down here. So all of this right here is wrong, and I need to rip all of that out. So I wanted to show you guys before I rip it out that I did do work on it, but I have to frog all this out so it'll look like I didn't really do that much, but I actually did do quite a bit of work on this one. So I'm going to be doing some ripping. I'm going to be sitting there one evening and just ripping out my mistake. Like I said, where's the chart? This line right here, see how they all line up pretty good, but my basket is farther down, and when I was counting off to start the L, it was going to be way down here, almost as far down as this one. Like it's down a good 6 inches, not 6 inches, 6 stitches farther down than where it's supposed to be. Because I think I was on that rickrack side border. I counted from the wrong part of the rickrack border there. So I did a boo-boo. Now, this next piece that I did not start at the retreat, but I purchased it at the retreat. And I want to show you this bag. Isn't this a gorgeous bag? Has a top zip, has this beautiful, beautiful royal purple material on the inside to go with this beautiful, beautiful fabric. This bag was made by Madeline, my friend Madeline. And I said, I love that bag. That is beautiful. She goes, here, you can have it. And she gave it to me. How sweet. How sweet. Thank you so much, Maddie. In this houses what I'm calling my Steel City Stitchers Retreat Start, because I purchased the pattern. This is One Nation by Bygone Stitches, and this is the one, I'm getting bad glare, sorry about that. This is the one where it has the 50 Quaker motif stars, flower stars for the stars in the flag, and then it has each state name in order that it joined the Union. So starting with Delaware, then Pennsylvania, New Jersey, so on, all the way down to Hawaii. So I purchased this at the Crafty U at the retreat, and I purchased this piece of material. Look at this. This is Haunted. Look how pretty that is. Haunted by, I have the tag in here, in my beautiful bag, my Maddie bag. My Madeline bag. It is a 28 count Lugana by Seraphim Fabrics in the color Haunted. And they had a little bit of floss at the Crafty U pop-up shop, but they didn't have everything. So I couldn't start stitching it there, but I started stitching it the day after I came home. The morning after I came home, I had to take the dogs to the groomer, so I spent the day doing, I went out and I did that and did a couple other things. But I didn't have the fabrics for it. So I pulled the flosses. So I pulled some flosses for it because all you need is a red, white, blue, and I'm going to use a gold to signify the state that my husband and I were born in. So, I'm going to show you what I did. My thinking on this one is I want to try to have this one finished at the Steel City Stitchers Retreat next year. I'm planning on going to it. I'm going to get signed up. And I started this piece. And I figured if I could put a state and a star every week, because there are 52 weeks in a year. So I got the first star for Delaware and the state of Delaware stitched in. Look at the variegation in that red. Isn't that pretty? And I've been working on trying to grid out the field, the blue field for the star flowers. And of course, as I go along, I'll do the lines for the stripes and the flag. But I thought it would look really pretty on this piece of fabric that I picked up there. So I picked up the fabric in the chart, and I just needed the flosses to make it look like a weathered flag in a way, an old weathered flag. Love it. So that's how far I was able to get on this one since I got back. I worked on it, you know, a few days after I got back from the retreat and got this far. So then now I just need to try to keep up. If I miss a week, I'll try to do 2, then the next week and things like that. Because there are times that I might be on vacation or whatever and not have time to stitch on this one. So I'm hoping to keep caught up with that and do that way. But my colors that I picked from my stash. And I picked Delphinium from Victorian Motto for my blue. And then I picked, I just used ecru, like what they called for the white. Because I didn't want the stark white for this piece. So I needed a few. So I have a few ecru for that. Because white is the most used color in it. The second most used is red. And my red that I picked up, I told you before that for my anniversary piece that I was waiting on a red Silks for You that was coming from Australia. Silks for You is located in Australia. And I got it. And this is about 1/4 of my hank. So I just took 1/4 of it and put it in a little bag to put in my project bag to work on that. And this is that variegated, goes from darker to lighter, that red in that piece. So I actually didn't get the red in until Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2 days ago. I got this in. So I was able to put in the state of Delaware yesterday. I stitched it in. And then I'm just, right now, what works for me for my hanks is I don't have the whole hank because it's 4 times this amount of thread. But I take it and I just take a whole strand of it and use it at a time. But when I'm storing it away, I've just been twisting it. I twist it lightly, kind of gather it up, and I throw it in its little plastic bag so it doesn't get all snarled up and all over the inside of my project bag. And then I picked a Victorian Motto Poppy, this gold color. This one I'm going to use to stitch the 2 states. I was born in California because, like I said, my dad was in the Navy, and he did his basic training out there, and things like, and all of his training for the Navy. So I was born out in California. My mom actually is a California native for the most part. Most of her family still lives out there. My dad is a Texan. My mom is more or less a Californian. Her family moved around a lot. My grandfather was an itinerant worker. He was American Indian, and he would take odd jobs, farming, construction, whatever he could find. So they lived in places like Missouri, California, Washington State, Texas. He moved around. He actually passed away. He died on the construction site working on the Alaskan pipeline that was running through down to California. He died there when I was a little girl. So he only had, I think, maybe a 4th grade education. So he wasn't, my mom grew up all over the place, but my dad was a Texan, and I was born in California. My husband was born in New York, actually New York City. So New York and California are going to get stitched in gold. And then I think too, what I want to do, although there are only 2 other states besides the states we were born in that both of us have lived in, because I don't want to leave Virginia out, because I've lived here for many, many years. My dad retired in Washington, D.C. We were living in Virginia, and Northern Virginia, and he retired in D.C. And I've been in Virginia ever since. So I don't want to leave Virginia out because I have been a Virginian for quite a while. So I want to stitch the states that my husband and I have lived in blue. So Virginia and Hawaii. He was in the Navy, and he was stationed in Hawaii for 9 years, moving around from hospital point to hospital point in Hawaii. And so look at that. That's a pretty close match, a little bit darker. So I'm going to stitch, planning on stitching Hawaii and Virginia in blue, and California and New York in gold. And then the rest of the states will be in the red and white colors that the pattern calls for them to be stitched in. So that is my plan for that piece. And that is, I'm considering that my Still City Stitchers retreat piece. Now, when I got back from the retreat, I started working on, I had told you guys in my last video that I have 4 Hawk Run hollow pieces, and I was going to start a 5th. And the 5th one that I wanted to start, which I did, and it's in my Virginia Get Around Totin' bag, because I could not get one of the Virginia bags. I started the Village at Hawk Run Hollow this past week. So it looks like this. Trying to keep as much of the glare off it as possible. And I'm starting on this upper left-hand block up here. So, and I'm using the called for DMCs, and this is being stitched on a 16 count piece of Aida in a Coffee and Tea Dyed by me, using Priscilla and Chelsea's coffee tea dyeing video that they put up. They are the Real Housewives of Cross Stitch, something like that. But they have a video on how to see, how you can see there's a little bit of mottling in here, but not a lot. And this was a white piece of fabric. And if you can see the white of my Q-snap clamp, that's how much color the coffee and tea put into my piece of fabric, with a little bit, and then I baked it and got a little bit of mottling in it, but I don't do like a whole lot. Can't see the whole piece, unfortunately. But this is how far I got on my first block. This was in my cross stitch challenge for 24 hours of cross stitch for this month. I worked 10 hours on it because I knew I wanted to start it this month. So I got 10 hours in, and I got most of this bottom part. I have a little bit over here still to do. And then, of course, the words and the little bit of motifs that are up here in the top. So I've got all of this here. I got a little bit more over here to do, back stitch in the stems of these plants over here. And then I still have to do all of that. That's how far I was able to get on my Village of Hawk Run. I am using all the called for DMCs, but one of the things, they're charted for MPI silks usually. Is this one also? What do I do with it? I'm losing my stuff, people. Oh, it's in here. Yes, it's charted for NPIs, or there's a conversion for the DMC. There are several for this whole piece, for all the blocks. These are all the colors. I am not going to use the MPI, so I got the DMCs because there's about 52, 53 colors here. But one of the things that I notice that Kathy Barrick, when she's, I don't know if the MPIs are like that or if it's just when she converts it to the DMC, sometimes the colors are very, very close to another color. Like here in the plants, that's 3 different colors. Kind of, I can see a little bit of the darker and lighter of 2 of the colors, but this here, the stem of this one is a different color than the leaf coming out. So it's hard to tell. They're very, very close together. So down here where it's like the grassy banks near this stream that there are fish in, this was just a very close greenish color to the other green. And I wanted it to be a little bit more blue. So what I did was I went in and I found what I have in this bag. I'm sorry, let me get a drink of water. What I had done is these are the colors for the first block. These are all my DMCs. I put them in floss away bags, put them on a ring. And then I have all of the DMCs on another ring. So I know the one that has the less on it is the one that I'm working with. And when I get to the next block, I'll find all of the colors I need for that block and put them on my ring, you know, but I have all of the colors in my project bag. But the ones I'm working on right now for block number 1 are right here. So what I had done was I went in, I picked a bluish color that was being used in the pattern somewhere, but not used for the water. And I pulled it out, and it was this 926, this blue, so that there would be a little bit blue to the water instead of green. It looked like just 2 green colors. So sometimes I do that. Sometimes I switch the colors around a little bit on my Hawk Run Hollows. So that's what I did on this one so far. But that was my progress so far on my Village of Hawk Run Hollow. And put that to the side. Throw that down here. My next piece that I was working on was my Whip-Go piece. My Whip-Go number 5 on my Whip-Go board. And it was all of my Whip-Go goals on my Whip-Go board this year right now. My goals that I set are for 10 hours on each project that gets called for the month. So this was my number 5, and this is A Perfect World by the Scarlet House. And this, I was showing this to you last week, talking about all the dogs on it. So before I had a little bit, I had it kind of stitched over to about here, somewhere. A little bit of this checkerboarding for the grass and a couple of these flowers in. And I did my 10 hours, and I believe I'm doing all the call. I am doing all the called for. Oops. So these are my threads. Whoop. See, they're messy because I've been working with them. Most of them are DMC, and a couple of them are the Weeks Dye Works colors. Okay. And I am stitching this one on a 16 count piece of Aida in the color Amazing Gray. And I did my 10 hours. I met my Whip-Go goal. Make sure it's not upside down. And this is how far I am. So this is, like I said, 16 count Amazing Gray. And I had it, I think, about to here. I had these flowers finished. I had all of the, I already had all this green part done up here. And I already had the vine going over so I could see how far over, how wide the piece was. But I came in and I filled in all of this black from about here over. And I did this tulip and these flowers here and the leaves. So that's how much I was able to get done in 10 hours. Now this is DMC 310 black that I'm using for this piece. There are a lot of people on Flosstube that say they think, and not everybody, but I hear it a lot from stitchers, that they think that Anchor black covers better than DMC. So I tested that out, and I don't see a difference. And I had this conversation with May that was sitting at my table at the Steel City Stitchers Retreat. And she said the same thing. She said, I'm glad I'm not the only one that feels that way. I said, me too, because I feel like everybody thinks Anchor covers better than DMC, which if you do, then that's great. Use what works for you. I can use either because both seem the same to me. I couldn't see the difference. That's the coverage I get with DMC, and that other piece I had Anchor, and they look the same to me. I could probably pull that one out. Which one was it that I had? Oh no, it wasn't. Was it full coverage? I don't think so. Anyways, so that is my A Perfect World by the Scarlet House. That was my Whip-Go goal that I met this month. So I got one more Whip-Go goal to still meet, and that's to work 10 hours on Little Things sampler that I have. So I do still have that one to work on. Let's see if I can get that one done. And then Stacy Alexander, the 911 Stitcher, I am on her Facebook group, And I am also subscribed to her Flosstube channel. But she has a Facebook group, 911 Stitcher. And every now and then she puts out a challenge. And she had a challenge for this past weekend. And it was to work on something February related. Either using any of the letters in the word February, F-E-B-R-U, A-R-Y, or something related to February, something red that had red thread in it, anything like that, and work on it for the weekend. And post a picture of your start, and then before the end of Sunday, post a finishing picture. So I did that, and I pulled out what I decided would be my challenge piece, and something that I wanted to get some more work done on, was my Modern Folk Embroidery, the 2021 Stitch Along piece, The Fruits of Plenty. I picked the February section. I had the January section already done, and I wanted to start work on the February section. So that was my challenge piece that I did this weekend for that. And so I picked it because it's the February piece, and it has a heart in it. And so that's Valentine's, February, whatever, to me. And I am stitching this on just a piece of off-white Aida, antique white Aida, 16 count, with 2 DMC colors that I picked out. And I can tell you what those are. So before I had, up to here, you can see the kind of like the line right here was the end of the first for the January section. So I was able to come in and stitch on all of this for the January section over the weekend. I worked on that quite a bit and got that much done. Kind of did a lot of the skeleton work of getting the shape in, getting a lot of that in there. And I filled in some here. But this is using 2 DMC colors on my off-white Aida, 16 count. And I almost always do 16 count or 32 count Madonna. And the reason I picked that size, it works for me because I like stitching. I've always stitched pretty much with 2 strands, and I do the loop start. And I don't have a problem with feeling like my stitches don't lie nice. I guess because I've stitched that way for years. So I'm used to it. And on 16 count, I stitched 2 over 1. So I used 2 strands of thread over 1. I use the loop start method, and then it gives me good coverage. And I am using these 2 different colors right here of DMC for my Fruits of Plenty. Losing my train of thought here, people. And so, like I said, it seems to give me good coverage. Like you can see in the areas down here. That's why I like it. It's not too bulky. Once I start getting to 18 count, start getting larger, 18 count is kind of that funny, it could be either or for me. I can do 2 strands or 1 strand. It just depends on the fabric and the look I'm going for on the piece. Sometimes I can feel like 2 strands gets a little bulky. That's why I settle on 16 count. I think years ago I just, doing a lot of the lavender and lace pieces, they called for 16 count or 32 count if you were doing it on the linen. And the 2 strands always was, great coverage. And then I always used it because with the beading, I wanted my beading to lie right and not have fabric that was the wrong size so that the beads wouldn't lay properly once I put them on. So all of these pieces were stitched on 16 count Aida in the past. So I did that challenge. I don't think I won though. She had a little giveaway. When she does these little challenges, it's usually she's giving away like some thread, a little thread pack or something. Just a fun challenge for people. So the other something I started this month, just since I talked to you guys last, was I was working on an anniversary piece for my husband and I wasn't liking how it was looking. I just wasn't feeling it. So I switched gears And I purchased a different chart. I went and got a different chart. And this is My Token of Love by Rosewood Manor. So, because I'm going to put my husband and my initials and our wedding date and then, you know, and things in here. So I was waiting on my Silks for You to come in. I ordered it back in. It's coming from Australia, and I knew it wouldn't be here in just a week. So I was biding my time, and I was like, man, I hope it comes in by Valentine's, because it would be kind of cool to start this on February 14th, since it's a love piece, an anniversary piece for my husband and I. So this is another quarter of the skein, the hank of the Silks for You in the PR 126. This is the same red I'm using in my One Nation. I am also using it for my Token of Love. And I am stitching this and on a piece of 32 count Lugana in the color, let me see which, it goes this way, in the color Blush. So it's a very, very light pink. You can see this is white. So it's a very, very light pink. Just blush, not pink, not in your face pink. And then I'm using that Silks for You red variegate, you know, has slight variegation in it. So I picked it up. I got my thread in the mail on the 14th and came in the afternoon. So that evening I picked up my piece and I started it. So I got a couple hours in. And this is how far I was able to get on my anniversary piece. So I did get a start on it on the 14th. And I wanted to show you the bag that I dropped on the floor that I have it housed in. Look at this. Erica with the Steel City Stitchers made this bag. She had a few for sale, and I picked this one up. Isn't this darling? So I thought, how perfect to put my anniversary piece, my little, my Token of Love. So it's housed in this bag, and she laid her things out on a table, and she announced, I have a few bags, but they're not going to last long. And so I went over there, and I was looking at this bag, and Jen with Stitchy Friends on Flosstube, she comes over and she said, oh, that's cute. Isn't that adorable? I said, it's mine. And this other lady said, oh, wow. And I was like, I hope they know I was kidding, but I actually did buy it. But sometimes also I feel like maybe people don't get my sense of humor. Maybe I come across as like, oh, she's kind of weird. I don't know. But, you know, so Jen, I didn't mean to offend you or scare you off or anything like that. I wasn't going to bite. But I was just joking. But I did buy it. So this was an Erica bag. Let me put the thing in there. So I got a little bit of work done on that one on February 14th, a couple of days ago. So I am planning on trying to maybe get that picked up again this month and try to get a little bit more work done on it, hopefully, and work on it through. I want it done by our 10th anniversary, which isn't till the year 2024. This will only be our 8th anniversary this year. So I got a couple of years to get it done. If I get it done ahead of time, great. Because this one isn't as big have as many stitches, I don't think, in it as the one I had picked before. I think this one might be able to be stitched a little bit quicker. But still, with as many whips as I have going on, it might take me a little while to get it done. So we'll see. So speaking of Valentine's, I wanted to let you guys know that I got a little piece of happy mail. And this came in like the day before Valentine's, so perfect timing, Sue. One of my subscribers, Sue, sent me this card, and she stitched a piece of fabric with puppy dogs on it. Isn't that cute? Onto a piece of like white like poster board that she cut down to postcard size, and then she just addressed it on the back. So and she just said Happy Valentine's Day. So that was a sweet little Valentine's gift in the mail. So sweet of you, Sue. That was very, very lovely. I enjoyed it. I contacted her, said I received your lovely Valentine. Thank you so much. So thank you again. That was really fun. Do I have anything else? Oh, I wanted to let you know, market's coming up next month, and there was one piece that I absolutely fell completely in love with when I saw it. And it's by Teresa Kogut, and it is called Let Love Reign. And if you can see that on my phone, well, my phone's dirty, got fingerprints all over it. But this is Let Love Reign by Teresa Kogut. I love the coloring in it. The colors are gorgeous. The design is gorgeous. I mean, so the whole piece just speaks to me. So I had to pre-order that piece. I couldn't not. Like I said, you can contact any of your LNSs and pre-order that. Or I think even some shops on Etsy. Some of the shops even have, some of the LNSs even have shops on Etsy. So there are many, many, many places that you can call and pre-order your pieces for the market. And I want to support our designers, and I just love that piece. I'm sure there's going to be other ones I see that I like too, that I might get through the year, but I had to pre-order that one. I just, that one stood out to me a whole lot. So my plans for the rest of February, I want to work on my WIPGO. I have one more WIPGO piece that I need to do, and that's my number 17, to work 10 hours on the Little Things sampler. So I'm going to do that. That's my plan. Work 10 hours on that piece. I still have, what are we at? Today's the 16th, so we got about 12 days left of the month. And on my 24 hours of cross stitch acrostic that Jen Lee puts out, Quirks and Stitches on Instagram, is for the month of February was hashtag 222 mini whips. So I have met 3 of the goals or 4 of the goals? 4 of the goals on here. I've done my Village of Hawk Run. I worked 10 hours on that one. I did 2 hours on Huckleberry Farm at the retreat. And I'll Be Home series. I worked 5 hours on that one. And that's one I didn't show you guys. This one's kept back here in this case that I picked up at Joann's. But I worked 10 hours on my I'll Be Home. This one is being stitched on 16 count Ada in the color Marbled Pointer by XJU Designs. And my goal for the year on this one was to try to at least finish the February house. The I'll Be Home series are a series of houses. There's a house for each month. I had already done the December house. I had a little bit done on the February house, and I pulled it out and I was working some more on that one. And I am, let me get this big piece folded in half so it shows, it doesn't look see-through. So I was able to come in and work on all of this roof line up here and the steps. So far that's what I was able to accomplish on that one. And the last time I showed it to you guys, I had it in the Q-snap and you couldn't see my January piece. So I had the January, now I'm working on February. I think I said December before. So I still have a ways to go on this one. Like I said, I want to try to get that block at least finished before the end of the year. And have that one finished. So I did meet that goal. And the last one was A Perfect World, to work 10 hours on A Perfect World. So I think it was 5 hours on that. Yeah, 5 hours on the I'll Be Home series. I think I said 10. So I've met those 4 goals. So the rest of the month, I'm going to try to see how many more of these, along with my WIPGO piece, that I can get done before the month ends. Now for March, because I usually put up a video every 2 weeks. My goal is to try to do every 2 weeks, which would be March 2nd, 2 weeks from today. It's hard to believe it'll be March already. But my goals for March, I had told you guys I had a bunch of planned starts. So 2 of the starts that I have planned for March are, the first one is, where's it? Get myself all mixed up here, getting a mess on the table. By Blackbird Designs, it's Merrily, Merrily We Welcome Spring. Because by March, I'm I'm ready for spring by March. I can handle it, you know, till the end of February, and then by March, I'm can't wait for the spring flowers to start popping up, things start greening up, and it gets warm, and you can go out and walk outside and all that kind of stuff, and hear the birds chirp and stuff. So merrily, merrily, we welcome spring. I have this one all kitted up. I am going to stitch this one on a piece of seraphim fabric in 28 count Lugana called Silver Lining. And I have all of the called for over-dyed cotton threads and this piece of fabric. It's got just a little bit of a pink, hint of pink to it. You can see it against the white here. It's a little pink, little tanny pink. So these are my colors and my fabric, and my plan is to start merrily, merrily, we welcome spring, because I don't know if I'll get started on these things, you know, on one of these March 1st. So the next time I check in with you guys, I might have one of these starts done, because the other start that I have slated for March is Teresa Kogut, the Newcastle Bouquet. This one's, again, flowers on it. I loved this flower border. I saw this one, the model of this one, stitched up at StitchCon. Keepsakes had their trunk show. They had some of Teresa Kogut's pieces, and this one was, a model of this was stitched up in there at StitchCon. And I have the called fors. They're some are DMC and some are the overdyeds. A couple of weeks and a couple of classic colorworks are the called for this one. And I am going to stitch this one on a piece of, what is it, 16 count Aida in the color Water Lily. So this one has, it's like tannish, but very, 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 very slight hint of greenish tint to it. See, like this green floss here against it kind of lets you see that it's a little slight green. Tan with a slight green, leans a slight green color. And I have that one. Oops, sorry. My dogs are in here with me, and I guess she thought she heard something. I have that one housed in a So Much to Love bag with cardinals on it. I thought this one is perfect for my Newcastle bouquet to be housed in, with the cardinals and the flowers. So those are my plans for March. So got my plans for the rest of the month, my plans for March. We will see how well I do with my plans and the rest of my stitching, and I'll check in with you guys again in a couple of weeks. Until then, I hope you guys have a wonderful couple of weeks, that wherever you are in the world, that you are healthy, happy, and blessed. I really, really, really do. I just wish you guys the best. You can join me on my Facebook group, which is The Virginia Stitcher. I will have it in my description box below. You have to answer the questions to get into the group. So that's one way you could share with me and other ladies and gentlemen. And also, I am on Instagram as _Virginia_Stitcher. And those are a couple of other ways that I can see your progress on things, and you can see mine. I'm not real great at posting on Instagram. I'm trying to get better, and I've been doing better in the last few months, but I still don't have a whole lot on there. And I haven't posted a whole lot on Facebook, but I do post on there occasionally. And I get on there and I see what everybody else is posting. So I love to see what everybody's working on. I really enjoy this community, and want to be able to, I feel like I show you guys what I have going, but I want to see what you guys are doing too. So it's that's fun to share, that kind of thing. So be well, be happy, and I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Love you.